Guys, have I got some exciting news for you today, and it's to do with Battlefield 6. It isn't speculation or rumour, it's hard fact. So let's just crack straight into it. So recently EA had their fiscal call for the year of 2020, and in it Andrew Wilson, EA CEO, said this: DICE is creating our next Battlefield game with never before seen scale. The technical advancements of the new consoles are allowing the team to deliver on a truly next-gen version of the franchise. We've had hands-on playtesting underway internally, and the team's been getting very positive feedback on the game as we've begun to engage our community. The next Battlefield is set to launch in holiday 2021, and we're excited to share a lot more about the game in the spring. So a lot of information to unpack there. Finally, we've got an idea of when the release date is going to be. It's going to be Christmas of 2021. There was rumours that Battlefield 6 would release earlier in the summer, not to compete directly with Call of Duty. Doesn't look like that's the case anymore. One of the most interesting parts of this statement is they've actually already got play testing underway internally, and the community is giving very positive feedback on that initial game testing, which is always a very, very good sign. It also informs us of more official updates coming in the spring. Could this be when we're seeing the confirmation of when Battlefield 6 will be set? Most think it's going to be modern day, but there are still proponents of it being in the Vietnam War or even in the Korean War, I've seen argued before. Either way, it's really nice that we've got a bit of a timescale now about when we're going to be receiving information pertaining to Battlefield 6. Interestingly, in this statement as well, we really get an idea of this next-gen vision for the franchise. Now, in previous videos, I've argued that I think Battlefield will be developed on the current generation of consoles, but as time is going by, more and more so, I'm thinking that this may not actually be the case. Now, originally I was basing my argument on Tom Henderson's tweet, who said that a Battlefield 5 development team has moved over to the Battlefield 6 project, but creating a version for the PS4 and the Xbox One. Now, originally I wanted to believe him on that statement, as Tom has proved credible, but the more information and the more I get educated, a lot by you actually in the comments about the subject, the more I'm thinking that this is actually not going to be the case anymore. For one, getting feedback in the comments, and as I've done my own research, it's become very apparent to me how difficult it is actually to develop a game on both generations of consoles, because you have to develop the game for the lowest possible denominator. So if you're designing a game for PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones, you can't really truly make it next gen. Now, originally I was very confused because Call of Duty are doing this with Cold War, but you have to understand that these games release, Battlefield games release maybe every 3 years, the major Battlefield titles, whereas Call of Duty releases every year and it's a lot smaller in scale. So to do it for Battlefield 5, developing it on the PS4 and the PS5, and the same for the new Xboxes, is far more difficult for a Battlefield title than it is for a Call of Duty title. And I also think if you look what EA are doing with their current games, especially around FIFA and Madden NFL 2021, they're really pushing quickly to move people onto the next generation of consoles, implementing time limits for the player base to upgrade for free, and then after that, especially with Madden, after March, you will not be able to get a free upgrade for that game. So they're definitely pushing towards people getting the next generation versions of the games very, very quickly. I mean, by March, so I mean, it's not that long considering. And in relation to this idea of how EA are going about upgrading their current generation titles, it's also supported by a statement by EA COO Blake Jorgensen, I think it's pronounced, who stated that, note, this year the phasing includes the effect of revenue recognition from the games we're launching for the current generation of consoles that can also be upgraded for free for the next generation of consoles. We made a preliminary estimate of the impact of this phasing, but it should be noted that this will not affect the bookings for the full year nor cash flow, just the timing of recognition. So the Chief Operating Officer here is talking about phasing in the time frame of the next year. So by the time we get to the next Battlefield title, the end of 2021, it looks like they want to be phasing rather than producing games on both generations of consoles, and they want that phasing to be over by the end of 2021. Now, the flip side of the argument is, yes, we still have Tom Henderson's tweet, who has been credible up to this point regarding Battlefield 6, to the best of my knowledge. And also, Battlefield 4 did release when the PlayStation 4 was released, it was a release title, and Battlefield 4 was also released on the PlayStation 3. So in that case, Battlefield did actually release on both generations of consoles, but again, that was a release title. This is now a year down the line by the time Battlefield 6 will be released. So I think I'm more swayed to the point now that Battlefield 6 is probably going to be exclusive to PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series X's. So what else have we learned from this statement? So right off the back of Andrew Wilson talking about the next Battlefield title, he goes into talking about Apex Legends and the success of the live service model. Now, I think this is really interesting because I talked about this before, whether the next Battlefield title is going to go back to premium or whether it's going to stick with the Battlefield 5 strategy of implementing a live service model, which let's face it, hasn't really worked in Battlefield 5's case because Firestorm is, well, it's really not played by many people at all at this point. So it'll be interesting to see. I think it's especially interesting that they're talking about live service directly after Battlefield. I'm inclined to think they will go towards a live service model again, but I think we're just going to have to wait and see. And also, at the end of the fiscal statement, they started talking about potential issues with the development of their games. Obviously, COVID-19 pandemic was one of the major ones, but they also talked about the hardware sales of the next generation consoles and governmental regulation. If you've been keeping up with EA at all, there's another lawsuit going against them at the moment in Canada about loot boxes. So, I mean, hopefully we'll never see loot boxes properly implemented into Battlefield, but hopefully this lawsuit will ease them away from that at least. And then also, and I talked about just now, is the sales of next generation consoles and how many they actually sell. And I think this will implement, it kind of goes back to Steve's point about how likely they will be to develop the game on the current generation of consoles. If there aren't many sales, which I don't think is very likely, maybe they'll develop it on the current generations of consoles, or at least it will make them think twice about it at least. But anyway, I think that's everything from this statement. I'm exceptionally excited to spring now. Hopefully we'll see some more leaks before then as we approach that spring deadline for more information, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do subscribe to the channel. Really helps me out as a small content creator. Anyway, have a great day. Thanks for watching and peace out.